Okay guys, so in the previous lesson I explained the theoretical part of the task that is ahead of us. We also created a link that is right here after the list of testimonials in the widget, and with this we are able to access our post type archive page. And from here, you are also able to access the single post page with the details of our post, of our testimonial, right? I also pointed out that we need to create something that will allow anything to enable or declare support for our plugin. This will be the best solution to make the theme stop using its own template files and use our plugin's template files. Let's of course start at the very beginning. The first thing we need is the template file specific to our plugin. We are going to create two template files. One will be a single template file that will control the layout of the page with details of a single post, in our case of a single testimonial, and the other will be an archive template file that will control the list of testimonials. We use this folder called templates here under views to create our files. The first important detail is the naming of the files. For the single file, the name single.php is not enough. The right way to create a single file for a specific post type is single hyphen followed by the post type key .php. The same thing goes for the archive. It will be archive hyphen mv hyphen testimonials.php. There you go. We already have the two template files specific to our CPT, our post type. Now, of course, all that is missing is the content. We'll handle that later, okay? For now, I'll open up each of them and just type in some text. First, let's see how to make WordPress and the theme identify these two files. Well, WordPress has two filters that are able to override the files used to control each of these two templates. The first is called archive_template and the other is called single_template. Self-explanatory names, right? Both filters work just like any other. You must pass a callback function to them. The purpose of the callbacks in this case is to indicate a different file to be used. It's all quite simple. Let's start with the first filter. Let's call here add filter. The name of the filter is archive_template. And here I'm going to pass a callback method called load custom archive template. It can be any other name, of course, but the name of the filter needs to be this one, right? So let's create this method. This filter works with a parameter that can be called TPL from template, right? I pass it here within the parentheses. And I return it down here since this is a filter and the goal is to modify the value of this parameter inside the function, okay? Now I could simply do the following here. But then I would be overriding the default template of the active theme in each and every circumstance. For example, let's save this here so you can see what I mean. Now, if I click on this link for a specific month that is supposed to use an archive template as explained in the last lesson, look what will happen. You can see that the filter made WordPress load our new file. But I want this to only happen when I'm viewing a list of testimonials and not a list containing any other post type. To accomplish this, I need to be more specific in my filter. I can put this variable here inside two conditional blocks. First, I want to check if the archive page I'm viewing really belongs to my post type. I can do this using the function isPostTypeArchive, like this. And I pass the post type key in here. Now reloading the page. Now it's back to normal. And now if I click on this link, now who controls the page is the plugin's template file, okay? That's because this one here is a specific archive page for my post type. Remember that we obtained this link by calling the get post type archive link function over there in our widgets HTML. Well, that sounds good enough, but by doing this, I will be forcing my active theme to use the plugin's template file. This is not so nice, okay? It would be better if the theme itself could control whether or not it will use the plugin's template, thus leaving aside its own templates. This is where the concept of adding or declaring support comes into play in WordPress. Usually WordPress themes work with a few basic features, but you can make it incorporate new features by adding support for some other functionality. It is just like a car leaving the factory with just a few basic features, and you can, if you wish, add some more features to it. There is a list of available features WordPress can support, and I will leave a link for you to learn a little bit more about them, okay? But your plugin can also create any kind of support. In our case, our plugin will create a type of support that the theme can later declare, that it can enable or use. If the theme declares that support, just then it will start using our plugin's template files. WooCommerce is one of the best known plugins that can do that. Themes that declare support for WooCommerce can do a few different things, like for example display a product review form or use WooCommerce template override system. In fact, we will create an override system very similar to that of WooCommerce in the next lessons. To start with, we'll add another if block here. And we'll call the function current theme supports. And the name of the theme support will be mv-testimonials. So the theme will only use our plugin's template file if the theme declares this specific support, alright? Saving this. Now when I reload the page with the list of testimonials, check it out. It is back to the way it was before. That's because the active theme is not declaring support yet. It's very easy to test this. I just need to open the functions.php file of the active theme. In this case, I'm using this theme here, the 2020. And here I'll just call the function add theme support and pass the name of the theme support we just defined. Now reloading the page. Who controls the page now is our template file. But that's because the theme allows that to happen, okay? One interesting thing is that you can use this technique to do all the things. For example, you can write a method that adds a CSS file with styles from your own plugin only if the active theme declares support. Anyway, use your head, alright? Well, now that you've seen how to add support for the plugin to control the archive template used by the active theme, let's do the same thing for the single template. Let's start by duplicating this line here. The filter name is now single_template. And I'll change the method name here to load custom single template. To save time, I duplicate this first method because the code will be very similar, okay? What we change here is, of course, the file name. And here we don't check if the page is for our post type file. Instead, we have to check if the single page belongs to our post type. To do that, I use the function isSingular. In this case, this function will only return true if you are viewing a single page that belongs to this post type here inside the parentheses, alright? I will give you a very simple example if you don't still understand. Here in my WordPress, there is a post called Hello World. This post here belongs to the default WordPress post type, which is called post, as you guys know. And I can easily figure this out by inspecting the page. Here in the body, I see this single hyphen post. In other words, this is a page of the single type from the post type. If I tried to visit a testimonial, I'm not going to do that now, but you can do it later, okay? I would see this information there, single MV testimonials. So that's it. Back to the code. Saving this here, and now visiting one of the testimonials. Now, the only way I can access one of the posts from my post type here is by going back here in the admin and accessing it from here, right? That's it. And now the one who controls the layout is the plugins template, alright? Well guys, I think you understood the process with these examples, I hope so. In the next lesson, we'll create a new look for the templates. So see you there.